Welcome everyone to tonight's podcast. I am your host, Afro Black, coming at y'all with yet another episode with my co-host, Mr. Markov's Portrait. Say hello to the people.
Oh,
Uh, we got a lot of Power World related BS here, but a few extras. Power World's been taking the world by storm over the last week and a half, give or take, something like
yeah.
that. So it's been a doozy. I've been a victim of its gameplay a little bit, but it's taken me a little bit longer to get into it. Still a good game though so far. But we will not be starting with that. First things first. I want to talk a little bit about the Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League game a little bit. Looks like we have a couple of things in here related to DLC and why IGN's review isn't out just yet. So let's see here. First things first. Justice League Freya DLC will include a playable Joker character. Joker, the infamous clown of chaos, is confirmed to not only appear in Kill the Justice League, but he'll also be a playable character. Announced in the third and final developer diary series for Kill the Justice League, Rocksteady Studios revealed the post-launch content plans for its upcoming game ahead of its release date. The studio detailed the roadmap for the first season of DLC, which will be released sometime in March. Some additional content in season 1 includes new boss fights and enemy variants, a new playable environment based on Joker, and 2 new episodes with new activities, missions, and strongholds to partake in. 3 additional seasons of Kill the Justice League are planned so far, according to Rocksteady. Each season will include a new playable character and 1 new playable environment, among other things such as new weapons and activities. So they put a little snapshot on here. Future seasons 2 through 4, 3 new playable characters, 3 new playable environments, new weapons, themed gear sets, activities, and mid-season updates. Season 1 will include, obviously, the Joker area, like they just said, new boss fight, and enemy variants. I don't know who... Oh, so it looks like there's a Superman variant, and then I don't know who this other character is. New DLC or new DC villain themed weapons. So I see some sort of themed machete, AR, and minigun. 2 new story episodes, activities, and then obviously the Joker character. The marquee of season 1 is that Joker will be a new playable character. Fans of Rocksteady's Arkhamverse games are probably mystified at the idea, given the upcoming game is set 5 years after Arkham Knight, and the Joker from that trilogy is dead. However, this is different from the Joker we have seen in those games. Rather, this Joker was pulled from another universe based on the Elseworld comics. Um, Quote, the original Arkhamverse Joker has been dead for 5 years, but this is a new Elseworlds twist on the villain, Rocksteady studio director Darius Sadigian? 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 I don't know. Said in the developer diary, while Rocksteady associate designer director Johnny Armstrong revealed that this Joker was part of the Suicide Squad in the Elseworld that he's from, which already shows he's slightly more cooperative than the previous Joker we've had, before teasing that this Joker is unhinged in a different way. For people that don't know, Suicide Squad will be released on February 2nd and will be coming out in PC, PS5, Xbox Series consoles, and that's it. So we're recording this on the 28th, so that's what, like 5 days, a little under a week.
It's Friday.
Oh yeah, that is true. 5 business days, so 5 days, so Friday. Cool. So it'll be coming out this week. So for people that are looking forward to it, there you go. Be coming out on Friday. Perfect. Carter, how do you feel about the first character being free?
I do not.
You do not feel?
No.
Perfect.
Um, I mean, this games as a service shit. All it screams to me, particularly in this instance, is that they are forcing this angle as opposed to just having the full game out and ready to go on launch. Um, I also don't really care where they're pulling their Joker from, given what they said about the Arkham Joker being dead. I feel like it kind of invalidates that and just kind of sets them up to say, fuck you, we'll bring back whoever we want, however we want,
Yeah, that's fair.
while keeping it in the same canon.
I agree. Kind of
Like,
cheapens
if
the
they were
whole
just
death
gonna
of Joker.
do. If they were gonna do like a completely different fucking take on it or whatever, then that's fine. But like, or like a new universe rather, that's fine. But they've clearly just stated that that's not what they're doing at all.
Yeah, no, they are not. Yeah. So the whole concept of Joker coming back, that's dumb to say the least. Like Carter and I just agreed, it is cheapening the death of the original Joker from this universe. Um, but I'm curious to see how he plays. And what kind of missions he's going to be involved in. The themed weapons look pretty cool in concept. However, I'm not really understanding what the enemy variants are. But to be fair, I know nothing about what the premise of the DLC is really, so I don't know how they're going to explain away the different versions of Superman that are going to keep popping up outside of maybe these are the Elseworld versions, I guess. Um, yeah.
It's gonna be boring, and it's not like if they're gonna run that angle, that's not a game that's fit for the Suicide Squad. That's when you make a fucking Justice League game.
Why is that?
Like I get it. Well, cause like if you're gonna do like, oh, the fucking Elseworld guys are coming in, it's all these crazy variants. Some of them are bad. Like that's not something that you set in the fucking Suicide Squad to deal with.
Yeah, no. That's kind of a weird power dynamic. Like, how are you going to make the Suicide Squad compete with that? Like, unless I guess they have a shit ton of like anti Justice League weapons, I guess. But from what
They
I
clearly
gather,
don't, though. That's
like,
why they're in prison.
yeah, like, it's kind of weird to say the least. I don't even know how the hell they're going to kill the first Superman in the first place.
Oh, it's super easy to kill Superman. Everyone's done it by now.
True. Harley Quinn's probably done it with a kryptonite bat or some shit.
Yeah, oh, that's all you fucking need. Just hit him with a rock and he's dead.
True. But yeah, so season one details or subtle details, I should say, have been revealed. Comes out on Friday. Not too hyped up from it or hyped for it for the cast of this podcast. So yeah, that's all there is to it. As for the second part of Suicide Squad news, I guess IGN came out with a reason why the review has not been, or the review hasn't been released for IGN. Long story short, review codes have not been sent out ahead of time, apparently. So, Suicide Squad's early access period will start to go live around the world late Monday night on consoles and 10 a.m. PT Tuesday on Steam, which means that's when it's officially out, practically speaking. Unfortunately, we do not have a review copy of Rocksteady's new game as a service looter shooter for you right away, as codes have not been sent out ahead of time. In fact, Warner Brothers Games informed IGN that it has declined to send us any codes at all. That's disappointing because we always strive to have a full opinion on a major game available for you to at launch, but it's well within WB's rights, as sending out review codes is neither an obligation nor something we take for granted. We will purchase our own copies and start our review in progress and guides and other coverage at the moment it launches, and we'll have impressions up as soon as we can after that. I'm not even gonna really read the last bit of that review. So I agree that they aren't entitled to review copies. Sure, I can understand that. However, that's really weird to withhold review copies for a game that you really want to sell well, and IGN is one of the biggest review platforms on the fucking planet. Like, this really weird to say. In fact, it's not that we forgot or that we don't really want to give them out to anyone. It's that you specifically, your company is not getting any. That just is really weird and suspicious. Unless there's been some sort of feud between WB and IGN that I don't know of, that's kind of really random. Like, I understand why they do it to Angry Joe sometimes, because obviously Angry Joe has like not been the most receptive to a lot of games as of recent years. To be fair, they've been shit, but nonetheless, he's ripped them apart, and because of that, people or companies aren't really wanting to send him out review copies for that, because obviously they want the game to sell, and a well-known independent reviewer that's known for calling out shitty games, that's not going to be the best for your brand. But I mean, IGN usually sugarcoats shit, so I don't really know what the problem is. That's kind of weird. Oh
Yeah,
shit.
it's not weird at all, and it's not the first time that it's happened to him either.
What
The
other
last time,
times?
The most prominent one that comes to mind right now is Fallout 76.
Really? They didn't get a review copy for that? Or didn't they review didn't they deny a
No,
shit ton of people for that game?
no one got them.
That's
It's
what
the
it
same
was.
situation that this game's dealing with.
Oh. See, now I figured they were just being selective about who they sent them out to.
Nope, doesn't seem like really anyone's gotten one. I haven't seen any reviews go up.
Oh, fair enough. Well, usually I don't know. Like usually when I see some shit like that, my automatic response is going to just be, okay, well, they just want people to find out for themselves, which usually means to me, in my opinion, that the game is going to be shit. They know it and they want to still sell some copies. That's my opinion though. I could be wrong.
Yeah, it's gonna be bad.
Yeah. That's all I really got to say on that one. Just like it's just not really, it's kind of disheartening when you see gaming companies do some shit like this. Like they're not sending out it just to me it looks like a lack of confidence in your product that you just spent years developing. It's
It is.
yeah. So yeah, I don't really have much more to say on that one. It's just that's not looking too good for you guys. Yeah, we'll
Yeah,
move
it's
on
bad.
from that one. Let's see here. What else did I want to go over? Actually, you know what, Carter? Why don't you tell us about your favorite series, Rick and Morty's next season?
Rick and Morty. So I will start that by defending it a little bit. Season 7 was actually really fucking great.
Okay.
Um, One of the best they've had in years, especially the last, like the back half of the episodes. Um, yeah, no, it was just a really good thing. Uh, New voice actors are killing it. I love the direction they're taking those characters as far as like their growth and everything. It's really cool to step up from the last few seasons. Um, Recommend it. It is on HBO and Hulu. But all that to say, that is not what this article is about. They have announced that season 8 of Rick and Morty is being delayed. That will be coming in 2025. Um, from Hollywood Reporter, they state first the Emmy winnings, excuse me, through. Though Rick and Morty fans will have to wait a bit longer for the new season, there's some good news for the fans of the Adult Swim hit. First and foremost, the Emmy winning series will return for its 8th season sometime in 2025, ending the show's recent streak of having new episodes annually. The reason for the push last year's 5 month Writers Guild strike delayed production on the new episodes. But starting as of the date of this article, again, all Rick and Morty episodes are now on Max, which means all Rick and Morty episodes are now out on the platform. Also, the debut season of the spin off Rick and Morty the Anime will premiere this year, and Adult Swim has just released first in show footage, which is linked in this article, from the project. Rick and Morty the Anime is from director Takashi Sano, who has done Tower of God and previously directed two acclaimed anime shorts in the Rick and Morty universe, Rick and Morty Meet Genocider and Summer Meets God, Rick Meets Evil. The anime is described as standing on its own as an original work, and the first season will consist of 10 episodes produced by Telecom Animation Film. The multiverse straddling exploits of Rick and the gang pose challenges to the family bond, but they also rise to the occasion, Sano said in a previous statement. It is such a life affirming sight, and Jerry is no exception. I am honored to have been given an opportunity to tell a new story about this amazing family. I hope you enjoy their adventure.
All right.
Previously, a teaser trailer of sorts was released for the anime at San Diego Comic Con, which is also linked in the article. This news follows the flagship series doing a behind the scenes reset for season 7, bringing along new voice talent Ian Cardoni as Rick and Harry Belden as Morty for its two titular characters. Who then they have a little blurb about having interviewed them after the show. With Belden saying, "It's been super surreal waking up every day. For the first month after landing the role, I genuinely kept asking my girlfriend if that had really happened, if I was indeed the new Morty. So to keep having the realization that yes, this is real, you're playing a character you've watched and loved for years and been such a huge fan of is indescribable and brings joy."
God damn. Well, that's
So
good that they found
yeah,
a
no,
voice actor that loves the role.
yeah, no, they both do. I've watched a couple interviews with them, and they're fucking killing it. They're great. Anyone who's still online saying that the new season's shit because fucking what's his face isn't there anymore is just stupid.
All right. Um, so I'm assuming that you're pretty happy with all the spin-offs and shit that are coming out in the main season. Are you happy with the main series getting delayed by 1 year?
I mean, I get why they did it. The episodes aren't even written for them to put out next year, so
Oh shit. Okay,
I mean that was the whole point of the writers' strike. So
that's fair.
no, I'm not mad that they're going to spend a bunch of time to actually work on it as opposed to just churning out half-ass shit.
Perfect. I can agree with that. Are you looking forward to the anime version of Rick and Morty?
We'll see. I don't know. Spin-offs usually I don't know. Spin-offs aren't usually the same thing as the main show. I do like the two little shorts that they've done so far. I thought they were interesting. We'll see how interesting it is if it can carry its own weight as its own separate thing.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of liked it as its own special standalone two-part thing, but
Just something mini
we'll see.
versus them making something out of it and possibly just using it as like a cash cow, essentially.
Yeah, basically.
All right, fair enough. I can understand that, not wanting the show to get, I guess, like diluted with stupid shit just because they want more money.
Yeah.
I agree. But yeah, no. So there you go, guys. For anyone that's looking forward to it, if you don't remember anything specific, obviously, all of the articles, as per usual, will be in the description below. If you want to go back and reread them or get more information that you may have missed or something when we talked about it. Um, but yeah, that's good. It's always a good sign when the voice actors love the role that they're playing. So The Witcher could have had that, but here we are. We won't get into that though.
Well, they
Um,
did, and then they didn't.
yeah, exactly. But yeah, so that's cool. Moving on to the next thing. So, Steam's most anticipated city builder hits 2 million on wish lists after the solo dev's girlfriend predicted they'd be lucky to hit 7,000. Jesus. The solo developer for the most anticipated city builder on Steam says his girlfriend expected him to get around 7K wishlist, but now he's crossed 2 million. Manor Lords is a medieval city builder that combines the management aspects of games like Banished and Going Medieval with combat and diplomacy systems that look more of something along the lines of Mount and Blade than SimCity. Manor Lords also happens to be one of the most anticipated games on Steam, with the second most wishlist on the entire platform, behind only Hades 2. And several spots above this next biggest city builder on the charts, Frostpunk 2. I played Frostpunk 1. It is hard as shit, but it's fun. Manor Lords recently crossed 2 million wish lists, according to a press release from the publisher Hooded Horse, which blows the figure its developer expected it completely out of the water. In a statement, developer Greg Styson says that when we first launched the announcement trailer in 2020, my girlfriend said, "I'm okay. You have repeated this at least 3 times now. Jesus Christ." Styson had slightly more optimism than that, putting his own personal estimate at around 14,000. Suffice to say, he says, "I did not expect the game to pick up so much interest and hit over 2 million. I hope this is encouraging for other devs who struggle to get their games out there. I had no idea how the game would be received if I had been bad at marketing, but luckily I wasn't discouraged and kept going." While solo devs don't necessarily have the odds stacked against their favor, the gamble of making and marketing an entire game on your own can sometimes pay off. Stardew Valley's Eric Barone remains arguably the most famous example of a solo success story, but more recently, Lethal Company developer Zeekers found themselves within the top 10 highest earning Steam games of 2023. Manor Lords releases early into early access on PC via Steam, GOG, and Game Pass's game preview program on April 26th. Whereupon Hades 2 and Hollow Knight Silksong will retain their battle for the top spot. Do you know anything about this game, Carter?
No, I'm not really into the genre, but I thought it was a cool little story.
That's fair. I mean, I agree that is pretty cool. We've been seeing a lot of sleeper hits just fucking take off, or
Yeah,
like in the past like 6 to 8 months. It's actually crazy.
it's like if you have passion for the game that you're putting out, it will actually result in a quality product.
I know, right? Don't tell that to the fucking AAA titles though. They got their own formula going on.
I feel like last year was better for AAA than people let on.
That's fair. But yeah, no, I'm happy for the guy. I hope the game turns out really well, and I hope that the success, inspires him to keep doing what he's doing and puts out quality updates and possibly more games. Um, but yeah, it's pretty cool. I'm sure that he's been rubbing it in his girlfriend's face for a while now, which I would do just to be funny.
Hot.
So, so yeah, Manor Lords. You guys know the release date, what platforms. So look forward to that if you like city builders. Let's see. We have not gotten into that yet. Let's talk a little bit about Dragon's Dogma. So, Dragon's Dogma 2 director says he does not like fast traveling because it can mean a game is boring. So, in an interview with IGN, Hideaki
Hideki.
Hideki Hideki Itsuno explained that if players choose to use fast travel instead in a game, it's usually a sign that the game itself isn't fun to play. I disagree. Instead, Itsuno said the onus is on developers to make normal travel interesting for the players so they don't feel tempted to skip it. That's fair, and I can agree with that. Just give it a try, he said. Travel is boring. That's not true. It's only an issue because your game is boring. All you have to do is make the traveling fun. That's why you place things in the right location for players to discover or come up with enemy appearance methods that create different experiences each time. Or force players into blind situations where they don't know whether it's safe or not 10 meters in front of them. That's kind of exhausting, but okay. Although Dragon's Dogma 2 will have two fast travel options, they will both come with caveats to make the player less reliant on them. Players can teleport to port crystals located around the land, but have to use rare fairy stones items to do so. There are also ox carts which fast travel along certain routes, but can be ambushed by enemies along the way. Giving an example of a situation that can arise from this, Itsuno explained, while riding an ox cart, you might find the path blocked by goblins and have no choice but to get off and join the battle. Then, as you do, a griffin might swoop in and destroy the entire cart with one blow, forcing you to walk the rest of the way, while cursing its name. Okay. And for people that do not know, Dragon's Dogma 2 will be coming out March 22nd and will be available on PS5, Xbox Series consoles, and PC. In a hands-on Dragon's Dogma 2 preview, VGC said the sequel feels a lot like the first game, and that's a good thing. How do you feel about that, Carter? Do you agree or disagree with that statement?
I agree with the philosophy, but I don't think you should necessarily be using that as a tool to restrict your game or your players from being able to get around the way that they need to or want to.
Yep, I agree.
Especially if you've already made them tread through the territory once on foot or twice on foot. I think there needs to be a point where they've kind of just earned that.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Fast traveling as a mechanic, if you put too many in a small enough map, I guess, actually, no, hold on, let me rephrase this statement. I would say that fast traveling in of itself is not a bad thing. There are instances in games where the map in of itself was too boring for me to want to go through the game on foot or like with vehicle or whatever the case, basically not time skipping. But I would also say that um while that may be the case, I still think fast traveling is good, especially for people that are getting to be my age. Obviously, I'm not old, but I will be 28 this year. I'm not trying. So there's going to be some days where I come home and I don't want to be stopped in game every 5 fucking minutes by a group of enemies when I just want to get to the next objective. There are going to be days where I'm just too tired to want to deal with that. And if you don't give me that choice, I might just put down the game and just not come back to it for another day couple days or maybe period. I don't think Dragon's Dogma is going to be one of those games where it's just overbearing sometimes or most of the time, but I do think that some people might take this philosophy a little bit too seriously, and that will be the result. So,
Possibly. We'll see. I still think it's gonna do great. I'm
yeah,
fucking
no.
pumped for that game.
Yeah, no, I'm fucking hyped. I played through the first game like 3 or 4 times. Like I said, I think the director will have a good balance, especially based off what we just heard slash read on this article with the two forums. I think that's a
Yeah.
pretty good balance. I think port crystals were actually in the first game too, but that was late game. Like that was close to the end of the game slash end game content or post game content. And
Yeah, I
as for
never
the,
played the first one, but
you haven't played it?
nah, I haven't tread too far out of the non-FromSoft Souls-like games.
That's fair. I would say if you can pick it up for cheap, I'd give it a shot, especially since
Oh yeah,
the second game doesn't come out for I don't know 2 months, give or take, month and a
yeah,
half.
I've got other shit occupying my time between now and then.
I'm actually curious.
Come
You
Friday.
fucking. So you can pick up. It looks like on Kingwin at least you can pick up the Steam key for $4.40.
Is that a legitimate site?
Kingwin, I've used it before.
It doesn't make it legitimate.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's a third party like Steam key site that people sell their extra
Yeah,
keys on.
I don't trust that.
That's fine. I'm just letting you know you can get it for people that do trust Kingwin, you can get it on Kingwin for about $4. So if you wanted to give it a shot. Um yeah, so definitely looking forward to the game. Yeah, this putting fast traveling I think is still unless your game it doesn't have as big of a world as I'm thinking about. I think fast travel is strongly encouraged. I wouldn't say necessarily like mandatory in the average case, but I would still say it should be a method of travel in a game, especially or more specifically for open world games. So,
I
so
guess. I just can't imagine if they came out 2 years ago and said we're not doing fast travel in Elden Ring. Fuck all of y'all.
yeah.
I think
um,
it would have significantly destroyed the reputation that game ended up having over time.
that's fair. But yeah, that's all I really had to say on the matter. Um, moving on to a little bit of let's see what the hell is this. Oh yeah, okay. So no, that's not what I wanted either. Here we go. Okay, so a little bit of Nintendo news in terms of a spree. So according to the official Nintendo website, they have made an announcement for discontinuing the online services for the Nintendo 3DS and the Wii U. This will apply to new Nintendo 3DS, new Nintendo 3DS XL, new Nintendo 2DS XL, regular 3DS. Wait, they just repeated that twice. Oh no,
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 there's
never
just that
mind.
many models.
Okay, never mind. Nintendo 3DS, 3DS XL, 2DS, Wii U Deluxe, and Wii U Basic. Um, so they made the announcement saying, "Thank you very much for supporting our products." At 4 p.m. PDT on April 8th of this year, online play and other functionality that uses online communication will end for the 3DS and Wii U software. This also includes online cooperative play, internet rankings, and data distribution. There will be more information about badges for decorating on the Nintendo 3DS home menu using Nintendo Badge Arcade. There's a hyperlink. Um, let's see here. Please note that if an event occurs that would make it difficult to continue online services for 3DS and Wii U software, we may have to discontinue services earlier than planned. We sincerely thank players for using the online services of the 3DS and Wii U software over a long period of time and apologize for any inconvenience. They do have a list of Q&As on here that you guys can go through if anyone is still using those services, but like I said, the services will end on April 8th of this year. Possibly sooner, but more than likely it'll just stick with April 8th. Um, So yeah, that's a bit of little bit of sad news, but you know, it kind of has to happen eventually for pretty much every online service. So it's kind
The good
of
news is it's incredibly easy to mod and hack your Nintendo 3DS console.
there you go. Make your own service. Fuck it.
Well, there already is. There's a ton of homebrew shit.
Oh, perfect. See, won't even be missing it. Moving on to a little bit more Pokemon or Nintendo slash Pokemon related news. So everyone knows what Power World is at this point. One of the biggest concurrent viewer or player count Steam games ever recorded. Like I think it was a little over 2 million at one point. I think this past week.
I
Um,
was gonna be Huli when I were gonna check to see how it looked this weekend, and I haven't looked yet.
I'm actually curious myself. What is it? Steam charts.
Yeah, Steam charts or SteamDB, either one.
All right, number one. So it looks like right now it's a little under a million for current player count. However, the peak player count so far has been 2.1 million players. So everyone should know at this point or has heard of Power World at this point. You know who else has? Nintendo. More specifically, Pokemon. So the Pokemon Company made a official statement earlier this week saying that they intend to investigate Power World. The Pokemon Company has officially made an official statement regarding Power World, saying we intend to investigate and take appropriate measures to address any acts that infringe on IP rights related to Pokemon. Um, while the Pokemon Company hasn't specifically mentioned Power World by name, it is very clear this statement is in response to the incredible success the survival game has experienced. 8 million copies sold in less than 6 days, and the claims that many of Power World's powers are way too close to existing Pokemon. We have received many inquiries regarding another company's game released in January of this year. The Pokemon Company wrote, "We have not granted any permission for the use of Pokemon IP or assets in that game. We intend to investigate and take appropriate measures to address any acts that infringe on IP rights related to Pokemon. We will continue to cherish and nurture each and every Pokemon in its world and work to bring the world together through Pokemon in the future." Prior to this statement, Power World developer Pocket Pair has insisted its game is much closer to those like Ark, Survival Evolved, and Valheim than Pokemon. Additionally, the team revealed it has been receiving death threats ever since the game went live on the 19th. In an interview with Automaton, Pocket Pair CEO Takuro Mizobe shared the team cleared legal reviewing, and there had been no action taken against the company for infringement. We make our games very seriously, and we have absolutely no intention of infringing upon the IP property or IP of other companies, Mizobe said. The Pokemon Company has already started taking action against modders who have replaced Power World's powers with Pokemon, and nexusmods has even said it won't host Pokemon mods for Power World out of fear from Nintendo's legal team, which we will get into later. All of these issues aside, Power World is an undeniably a runaway hit, and here at IGN called it great in its current state. Even if it in its early access state, Power World is amusingly irreverent, has a surprising amount of content and deep survival mechanics, and is absurdly difficult to put down. IGN's Travis Northup wrote in his Power World review, "It's impossible to overlook just how shamelessly it takes ideas and designs for Pokemon. It's got some unsurprising bugs and performance issues, and the work of keeping your base's supplies topped off needs a little retuning. But when you're riding on the back of a flying dragon while shooting a blue duck with an assault rifle, most of these blemishes wash away entirely. This is already one of my favorite survival games, and I'm incredibly excited to see how it evolves." Um, Bobby and I were actually talking about this a little bit earlier this week regarding Power World and Pokemon's shit. However, I do find it wild that people have been mass reporting essentially Power World to Pokemon. Like,
Yeah,
goddamn.
snitches get stitches.
I'm just like, I mean, I'm pretty sure if the Pokemon Company is going to do anything they can do it without a bunch of people screaming and shouting and molding that Power World looks similar to Pokemon. I'm pretty sure
One would
that they
imagine.
care about preserving their IP more than a bunch of 12-year-olds and above that want to just snitch just for the sake of snitching. Um, yeah, I will be. I don't know. It's because according to what Bobby told me, Japanese law when it comes to copyright and shit can be very ruthless when it comes to people when they're defending their IPs. Um, so I guess we'll see if they actually do take any action. Yeah. What do you got to
It's
say
gonna
on
be
it, Carter?
fun. I think there are some cases where yeah, it's a little cough inspired.
Yeah.
But I don't necessarily know that it's enough to warrant a giant class action lawsuit or death threats. Like don't
Yeah, the death
fucking
threats are a
send
little
death
bit much,
threats.
guys. I don't know why we're death threatening to IP that has nothing to do with us. Um, it's really weird.
Like they're not gonna let you fuck Gardevoir for reporting them to Nintendo. Like it's
Just,
not. You're not
in
gonna
in
get anything
case
out of
in
this.
case anyone needed to know that, you will not be having sex with a Pokemon or be getting some white knight points with any Pokemon that you may be having fantasies over for snitching on a random indie dev's game. Just so you're aware. So yeah. Nonetheless, outside of that, related to this, Nexus Mods put out a statement. Um, Nexus Mods, one of the biggest modding sites on the internet, has confirmed it won't be hosting Pokemon themed PALWORLD mods, saying doing so would almost certainly put us at risk of legal action, obviously, given Nintendo's history of litigiousness. I think that's how you pronounce it. Um, and obviously that is backed by the countless people that have stopped reviewing Mario game or like any Nintendo games, more specifically Mario and Pokemon on YouTube and the internet, because Nintendo for some reason doesn't understand that the moment that those reviews get out, it increases the viewership or the openness to people to your product. It doesn't hurt it. But nonetheless, they're very strict on who can and cannot review Nintendo IPs. So obviously, Nexus Mons doesn't want to be sued out of business because they're supplying people with a hub to get Pokemon mods, a game that they try to cater towards children, um, and be able to basically kill a Pikachu or put them in
I
borderline
see.
slave labor. So
Oh, yep, because that's a lot different from Pokemon.
yeah, according to Nintendo, it is. So, let's see here. Power World's big hook, of course, is the Pokemon-like pals that roam its open world, all of which can be caught in a very Pokemon-like manner to assist in exploration and survival. The sometimes startling similarity between PALs and Pokemon's creatures' designs has been a major talking point since its early access launch, and it was inevitable modders would begin swapping out Power World's derivative creatures for the real thing. It took mere days for the first Power World Pokemon mod to arrive, and as quick as you like, Nintendo's lawyers were on it. Nintendo has come from me, the YouTuber Toasted Shoes wrote just a day after showcasing his Pokemon Power World mod on social media, where all footage was suddenly moved and removed in response to a report by the copyright owner. And it's in this climate that Nexus Mods is now saying no to hosting Pokemon themed Power World mods. In a statement provided to PC Games N, which spotted an Ash Ketchum mod for Power World, has seemingly been removed from the site. Nexus Mods community lead Matthew Elliott admitted, "We do think that adding Pokemon content to Power World is a very cool idea, and we understand why people want such a thing. However, we're not comfortable hosting this content." Um, as you may know, the statement continued by way of explanation. Nintendo, who jointly owned the Pokemon franchise, has consistent record of mercilessly submitting legal challenges, DMCA's, and takedowns against fan-made content. Given Power World's similarity to the Pokemon franchise as a base game, hosting content that adds copyrighted characters or assets into the game is almost certainly going to put us at risk of legal action. We don't think it's worth the risk. to allow this content to be shared in our community. At best, we would have to deal with the headache of DMCA/legal threats from Nintendo, and at worst, they may seek to take action against us and uploaders of the mods directly. While Pokemon and Power World are a no-go for Nexus Mods, the company noted that there are many creative opportunities to explore mods for this game that add to the world and gameplay, but do not infringe on existing IP so obviously, and that it's really exciting to see what the Power World modding community comes up with. Yeah. I don't really think that anyone should be shocked or anyone is shocked that Nintendo's taking this action. Um, People should have been seeing this coming. Nintendo has always been aggressive when it comes to shit like this. So yeah, I don't really have anything more to add to that. Do you, Carter?
Yeah, no, the Nintendo ninjas are ruthless. I don't blame them for covering their ass where they need to.
Yeah, no, I don't blame Nexus Mods for doing this at all. Um, yeah, just that's all there is to it. Um, yeah. So let's see. Speaking, might as well go through our last Power World thing here. So Dexerto put out an article. It was published on the 24th, so about 4 days ago. More specifically about Power World's roadmap. Power World developers Pocket Pair has revealed their plans for the game's future after its remarkable rise to gaming dominance with a roadmap for early access, including PvP, raid bosses, crossplay, and more. On the 24th, Power World's official X account committed to writing their plans for the future of the game, and there's a lot of exciting updates to look forward to. So as you guys can see, I will actually zoom in on here. There we go. All right, so early access roadmap, addressing critical issues. Some currently numerous bugs have been identified, and we are prioritizing fixing these. Two keynotes are sometimes the world date may experience rollbacks, and the loading screen may persist when trying to load into worlds, and so on. Improvements to implement ASAP, which would be key config improvements and improvements to base PAL AI and pathing. I have been hearing Matthew and Philip complaining about that a little bit on Discord, where it's just weird, or they'll just kill themselves in fires. Planned future updates would be PvP, raid bosses / endgame content, PAL Arena, so PvP for pals, Steam Xbox crossplay, which would be fantastic. Various Xbox feature improvements, server transfers and migrations, improvements to the building system, new islands, pals, bosses, and technologies. How do you feel about that, Carter? Do you think it's good that they're planning out a roadmap this early on?
Yeah, I think in early access, it's important to lay the groundwork for what your end game, and to have a clear picture in mind like that right out of the gate is probably a pretty good idea, especially knowing that they weren't anticipating this amount of support right out of the gate. Um, I think it goes to show that they were kind of cooking on this before anything blew up.
Yeah,
So
that
it's
actually
good to
does
know that they
show.
had a plan beyond, hey, we're just gonna do a little Pokemon cash grab.
Yep, I agree. It shows direction and decisiveness, so hopefully they can stick to it, because we don't need another Star Citizen. So
I still personally, in spite of that, I don't really see this game being more than a flash in the bucket type hype thing
that's fair.
before the next one,
I
before the
hope
next big game comes out.
I hope the game does keep a pretty sizable population, but I don't know how hard the population that it does have is going to taper off. I don't think it's going to stay in the hundreds of thousands. I can see tens of thousands though.
Oh,
Obviously,
I think it'll absolutely have a dedicated community. I just don't think it's gonna stay anywhere close to where everything's at right now.
yeah, I agree. I just hope that they do keep a pretty steady and pretty decent population count, because I do think the game deserves to have that. I just hope that they
Yeah,
don't take too long for these updates, because obviously it takes a lot to be at the level of Star Citizens. Like, we'll get to it. We'll get into it, but I don't want them to be taking their sweet time with these updates and these issues getting fixed and shit like that. If they can
right.
stay on a pretty regular update cycle and shit, I do think that the game will keep a pretty solid like fan base and population. But if they take too long, it's gonna die real fucking quick.
I agree.
Especially since there isn't PvP yet. There isn't a PAL arena so that you can play against your friends in a like a PAL versus PAL type of shit. Um, I don't think, or raid bosses, I haven't really been hearing too many complaints about that. However, I do think something that will keep their longevity pretty high is the crossplay between Steam and Xbox, especially since PALWORLDS is on Game Pass. That's
Yep.
just like an instant W right there. If you can implement crossplay ASAP, your game has a pretty strong chance of staying alive. So,
Yeah, I agree.
So yeah. But right now, everything is looking solid. They're on point. Like I said, I just hope they don't take too long before they start ripping out these updates and shit. Obviously, don't put them out too quickly, like more specifically with like the new content and stuff, because if you do that, then people are gonna dry out real quick, either from being overwhelmed or they're gonna speed through it and then just get bored. So plan it out accordingly.
This will be a balancing act.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But right now, everything's looking strong, and I'm happy for them, and I hope the success keeps coming.
Yeah, though I don't know. Julio and I were kind of talking about like what a PvP version of that game would entail, and like I don't foresee it being anything super crazy or Pokemon like.
No.
I just don't think the monster portion of that game's fleshed out enough to warrant
Mm.
something as deep to rival.
Yeah, I don't really know how they're going to make pals like interact in PvP. That's kind of interesting. Like, are you gonna lock it to where only two, or like it can only be a 1v1, or are you gonna be able to make it so that you can treat like an invader as basically a raid boss and you can gang up on them, or whatever the case may be? I'm assuming they'll differentiate it in the sense that like in the PAL arena, your pals can't die, but they can die in PvP. So there will be
Yeah,
that more than likely. But yeah, no, it'll be
yeah.
interesting how they go about PvP. So
Give me 2 seconds before we jump into the one. I gotta quick.
okay.
Cool. Probably like cut the video here or something. I don't have to sit. Okay, bear with me.
Um, but yeah. Uh, let's see. Let's see. 415. Okay. 4715. It is